Hello everybody, myself BR sir. Today I am going to teach you here about IELTS, and I will make you here very simple to learn it, and let's learn with fun. IELTS means International English Language Testing System. IELTS is mainly categorized as academic IELTS and GT IELTS. GT means general training. It is mandatory for the international students and aspirants, mean candidates who like to pursue the further education or to serve in any English speaking country. For the international student or for the person who have the academic gaps, those who like to go abroad, if they do IELTS academic for the students and IELTS general for the people who have academic gaps, they can serve in the English nations. Mainly, IELTS, to complete IELTS, you need to gain two types of skills. Let me make you here more clear to you. Okay, let's divide. IELTS has 4 different modules. As we know, speaking, writing, listening and reading. But before learning the modules, we have to gain 2 types of skills. One is called productive skill of IELTS. Next is called receptive skill. Okay, alright. Now let's go to learn what modules are coming in the productive skill. The first comes here speaking. The next comes here is called writing. Similarly, for the receptive skill, in here you are going to learn listening and reading modules. Okay, to make this graph for you, it will be very easy and convincing for the fresh students to learn about IELTS. Actually, IELTS is not so tough, but it makes you more creative and more realistic. Let's learn productive skill. You have to produce. You should create your answer in speaking as well as writing. There is a good relation between the speaking and the writing. If you know how to speak and communicate with the examiner, you also know some of the words you can use from there to compose writing talks 1 and talks 2. Similarly, in listening also you can hear some answers from the audio, and reading you can find the answers from the passage. What is the difference? Here you need to produce. For these things you need to produce your answer yourself. Okay, this cannot be fixed all the times. You can use the answer yourself what you are going to make. And here what is the difference? Here you should receive the answer from the audio as well as from the passage. So these both things I hope you understand. In speaking and writing module, you produce your answer, and here in listening and reading you receive your answer from here from the audio, and here from the passage which you obtain or which you will receive. Okay, to come in detail, let me make you here more clear. In speaking, there is part 1, part 2 and part 3. To make you very simple information and to keep you learn in IELTS, here part 2 and part 3. Right? In part 1, you may have 4 to 5 minutes time. 3 band score for this is called personal introduction. Right? Introduction. Okay, there is no space. Personal introduction. In part 2, you may have 3 to 4 minutes time. and it also has 3 band score. It has found a cue card question, okay, cue card question with 3 bullet points, 3 to 4 bullet points, right? To remember this is essential information for you. In part 3, what you get here, the time is 4 to 5 minutes, and here also the band score is 3. Here you can get all the questions are connected with part 2, okay, speaking part 2. Whatever you get in the question speaking part 2, you find the answers in part 3, right? Okay, let's go for writing. In writing, it is generally categorized in 2 talks, talks 1 and talks 2. Here, talks 1, there are 7 questions types, okay, listen along. Here you can get the band score is 3 band score. You may have comp time 20 minutes. Similarly, you should compose 150 words. So keep in mind, don't forget. Alright, students. Now here in talks 2 of writing, you may have 5 types of essays. Right? The band score will be the 6 band score. Time will be 40 minutes time for you to complete this talks, and the word limitation will be the 250 words. So what you are going to learn in here, proactive skills, to make it very clear for the fresh students and new students, whatever they are and where the place they belong. I am going to make these classes for especially you to learn speaking module, as I have delivered my words. Part 1, part 2 and part 3 will be there. In part 1 there are 4 to 5 minutes. Part 2 will be the 3 to 4, and part 3 4 to 5 minutes. Altogether the speaking module have time 11 to 14 minutes time only. This is the full time for speaking section. Okay, now writing from the year 2023, this writing will be the first exam, then listening and reading will be after one by one respectively. Speaking will be 1-2 days earlier or 1 or 2 days after your 3 examination. This will be the same day. Okay, let's go for listening to make you more general nowadays about it. Listening. In listening, I want to make you hear again. Listening, let me make it clear for this. In listening, there is a part 1, part 2. It's a part 2, part 3, and the last one is part 4. I give you the description down in the comment box, so you can find from there as well. So listening, you can locate here part 1, part 2, part 3 and part 4. In part 1 there will be the 1 to 10 questions. In part 2 there will be the 11 to 20 questions, and part 3 will be the 21 to 30 questions, and part 4 will be 31 to 40 questions. Altogether, the average time of the listening text of IELTS will be the 30 minutes time. The audio will be played only once. You cannot repeat or skip any audio clips. Similarly, you should be facing the part 1 in the beginning. You feel the part 1 will be the very simple. The key information can be repeated there. Part 2, little bit past, the speed will be there a bit faster as compared to part 1. In part 3, the speed will be quicker and faster in the pace. In part 1, 2 and 3, you may get their break time in the question. Middle of the time you get the break time. But in part 4, there will not be any break time. The question comes continuously one after another. Okay, right? So altogether 1 to 40 questions you get in listening text examination, and the band score will be the 9. If you get 23 for academic, then you get the band 6 for that. Okay, now for the last reading section. Okay, let me make the arrow here. In reading section 2, you may have found, okay, there is no space, so let me rub it. Okay, here you get the passage 1, passage 2, and you get the passage 3 here. 3, okay. So all together for reading you may have time 60 minutes time, right? In listening, after finishing the audio, you will get the 10 minutes time to transfer your answer to the answer sheet. But in the reading section, your time will be the fixed time, 60 minutes time, where you have to finish passages 1, 2, 3, which consists of 40 questions, 1 to 40 questions in listening also. Alright, and 1 to 40 questions in reading also. So when you complete the answers of 1 to 40 for the questions, you need to transfer that to the answer sheet. Most of the students, they do mistakes while transforming. They miss the spelling, they skip the word, singular, noun, plural noun and number. They do mistakes. So when you copy the answer for listening and for reading, you should write always in the capital letter, because the block letter can be good. Your answer can be checked by the scanning machine, and you have to give your answer very clear. For example, the box which you get in your answer sheet, you should not touch the bottom, top, right and left sides. You should keep your answer separately, the spelling as well. Focus on it. Thank you so much. Have a good day.